All right, gang, welcome to the channel. This is the first video of what I'm hoping to be a series of videos for you guys to see. Mostly entertainment as you see me go through my reloading process and how I shoot. I've been reloading for a while. I've kept every primer that I've ever shot. And so you can see I've reloaded quite a bit, but I am by no means a professional. I am completely an amateur. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have some guidance and out of reloading books and honestly out of Johnny's reloading bench on YouTube. That's where I learned most of my reloading from. I haven't been in the reloading game in a while, but I did something kind of crazy and decided to enter the Guardian long range shooting match. I guess it's like a FPS type match. I don't know. I've never done anything like that before. I've shot for a long time. I've been reloading a while, but now there's a little bit of pressure behind what I want to do. So that's what made me think about doing this and let you guys come along with the journey and maybe get some entertainment out of all my screw ups. A little history. I started reloading 9mm like most people do. I bought myself a RCBS reloading press. It was on sale, I believe, at Palmetto State Armory for like 129 bucks way back in like 2013, 2012, somewhere around there. And mounted it to actually a telephone stand because I was living in an apartment at the time. And I reloaded some 9mm with that, and it actually worked pretty good. I did a few of those, some pistol competitions. Back then and really enjoyed that. So the hand loading really helped keep down the expense of shooting as much. Of course, everybody says, the same old thing. It doesn't make it cheaper. You can just get to shoot more. So I had some pretty good success with that. I really enjoyed it. I've always been mechanically inclined, so I really like to work with my hands and do things myself. There's really nothing wrong with factory ammo, but I did notice a lot of inconsistencies in it, which of course hand loading really helps you narrow all those inconsistencies down, and you are basically blaming yourself if anything doesn't go right. You can blame no one else. You're the one deciding what bullet you're going to use, what powder you're going to use, the primer you're going to use. So yeah, it's all on you, which I really like. To blame myself for any stupidity that I might do out there. So to move along, I did go to the 223 route and started reloading some of that. And let me tell you, I was a dumbass. So I got a bunch of brass, I shot a bunch of rounds, and I was reloading some cheap $100 barrel. It was a 24-inch bull barrel that I bought off JSE Supply, I believe. And thought it was cool. It wasn't threaded or anything. And I shot some pretty good groups with that. Usually, of course, right at an inch. I'm no expert shooter, but right at an inch I would get them down to. But some of the velocities were not that great. 23, 24, 2500 feet per second. Those are my most accurate ones. It was odd that the slower ones were more accurate, but I've noticed that going through that some of the slower ones seem to be really consistent anyway. Pretty much everything you shoot, at least in my experience. But I started with 223 and really had no clue about like consistency. I knew how to load. I knew how to, clean the brass, prime the brass, charge it, seed the bullets, to a particular depth or whatever, and went out and shot them. And just kept doing research, reading reloading manuals, watching YouTube. Like I said, Johnny's reloading bench has, been my biggest inspiration for my reloading, just seeing his consistency and stuff like that. I got the Hornady book. Then I got the new Hornady book, which I believe is the 11th or 10th, the 10th edition, I believe. So I had the 9th and the 10th edition of the Hornady book. I got the Lyman book. I got a basic reloading manual, read as much as I can. And I never really saw anywhere where it said to use the same type of brass. So I was shooting once fired brass from everything that I had bought factory with. So I was using Winchester, Hornady, Lake City, PPU, all trying to make these loads. And it wasn't until I saw on YouTube how, you want to stick with the same, not only the same brass, but the same, like with the Lake City, the same year. And that was also on Johnny's reloading bench. And, it kind of hit me like, what an idiot. I'm a dumbass for doing all this and, doing it. But the good thing is it got me experience. It got me to look and see what I'm doing wrong, some of the things I did right, seating depth, so even though it wasn't the most accurate ammo, it wasn't the most consistent ammo, and it wasn't super precise, it got me the experience in that 223 with that cheap barrel of how to make that cheap barrel shoot really well, because it shot a good 3 inches with factory ammo, and I got it down to about an inch, with some of my very inconsistent reloads, but they were still better than the factory ammo. So fast forward to a big move across the country or halfway across the country. Married, kids, COVID, all the things. Still loving to shoot. In about 2018, I saw the 224 Valkyrie come out. And I thought, you know what? I've got a lot of 224 bullets. That would be great. I still have a lot of those I can reload. I really liked the way the cartridge looked. I really, thought it was looked like a great 2000 or 2000. It looked like a great 1,000 yard rifle. My goal had always been to shoot that 24-inch $100 barrel to 1,000 yards in 223. And you can do it. I know you can do it. I've seen people do it. But this just looked like a better way to get larger grain bullets, higher BC out to 1,000 yards without a whole ton of recoil. So I bought a Palmetto State Armory 20-inch 224 Valkyrie upper. I had built all my lowers. I have some Mega Arm lowers. I had built some uppers with those. Just some cheap Spikes Armory uppers and lowers kind of thing, combo. I did go ahead and buy Mega Arms. I thought they were really good at the time. So I bought a few of those just to have around. So I bought this complete upper from Palmetto State Armory. It was a 20-inch job with a just our standard, like what do they call it, a bird's nest, bird's nest basket or whatever, the flash hider that came on it. So I bought that thing, shot a few rounds, which I'll show you here in a minute, threw that of factory ammo, and was a little disappointed, like a lot of people were at first with 224 Valkyrie. And then shot that for a while, tried a couple of reloads on that, and this was, at the end of 2018, beginning of 2019. We had kids, we moved into a house, and shooting kind of took a back seat. I still wanted to, so I would see deals out there. I bought a JP barrel off Brownells. They had them on sale. I believe the 22-inch JP barrel, they had them on sale for like 220 bucks. So I grabbed one of those, just let it sit in the shelf. And then I'd already ordered a Black Hole Weaponry barrel. Also, it was a 24-inch, and he said it was going to take months to get that thing in. So, I just sat and waited, and then COVID hit. So that, which of course affected everyone. So I work in healthcare, so we were pretty busy. I didn't have time to shoot. I certainly didn't have time to reload. So everything took a back seat until a month ago, whenever I decided I was going to, or a few months ago when I decided I was going to do this Guardian match. So that's where we're at now. I'm still doing the 224 thing. I'll show you a couple of groups with the Palmetto State Armory real quick, and then some of the factory ammo that I've shot, and then I'll show you where our potential is on where we're going to go with our reloading in this series. All right, so this is the target for the 20-inch Palmetto State Armory. It's got that flash hider on it. I did not have a chronograph. I didn't use a chronograph at the time for this, just because I wanted to see what the groups were like with the upper itself. I do have a Caldwell chronograph, one of the green ones. It doesn't have the lights on, it's just the basic one. That thing can be frustrating at times because I get lots of errors with that. It's really sunny where I am, so I know that a lot of sun really drowns out a lot of the noise, from the bullet as it, passes through it, and I get lots of errors. It's very frustrating. So we're gonna have to do something about that. But that's this group right here. So this is my first target on this guy. Let's see, where did we start? So we started with of course, what everybody shoots is the 75 grain total metal jacket from Federal. This is what I shot, and this is part of like a barrel break-in as well. This is actually not two different groups. This is one group. So you can see it's a solid 1, 2, 3, 4 inches across there. Yeah, so this is where we started, but this was the barrel break-in, break-in from that Palmetto State Armor barrel. I shot 5, ran a few patches through it, shot this other 5. I don't even know where this 5th shot went. I'll have to look for that, but so that was where we were shooting with that guy, just to break the barrel in. And I understand, it was going to get, a little bit of accuracy. At least you can see there was a shift after cleaning it, from one side to the other. But that center point is what I was aiming for. So we shot that group. The second group, the same thing. This was after, the second cleaning. And so you can see that's still almost a 2-inch group there, 1.7 inches. It did not shoot well either. But everybody considers this like a plinking load, which I'm okay with. So then I decided to, clean after that. And then I shot another group right here. So this is another 10 shot group, I believe. Same 1.7 inches. So it's kind of funny. At least we can say it's consistent. And I was like, all right, so I got, a good, 20, 30 rounds through it. Cleaned it good, and then shot these 10 just to kind of foul it up a little bit. So then I moved on to what I thought was going to be a great load. So I also have the 88 grain ELD Match Factory, and this is it right here. Let's see where we're at. Right there. So this guy shot a 2.7 inch group. So needless to say, I was a little disappointed in this group. I thought, match ammo, it's supposed to shoot really well. I did have some good consistency with a lot of the Hornady Superformance. Some of their like just standard 75 grain boat tail hollow point match ammo out of the 223, and it shot really well, right at an inch or a little bit under. So I was pretty disappointed in this group. So yeah, I was like, what did I do here? I bought this upper, it shoots like crap. Yeah, I was pretty disappointed with this guy. So then I moved on. I was like, well, maybe it's meant for the 90 grains. So I did move on to this guy. So here you've got the 90 grain Federal Fusion. 1.6 inches, not bad. A little bit tighter than the 75 grain TMJs. Sorry about all the camera wobble, guys. A little bit better than TMJs. But, I was like, well, that's a good hunting round. That'd be perfect for this barrel, a little 20-inch barrel. Do a little deer hunting with it. Deer in our area aren't super huge, so I would have no problem shooting a deer with this round. But still, that well over an inch group. So moving on to my second target, you can see this is the 88 grain Hornady ELD Match Factory ammo again. And I was still pretty disappointed in this guy. 3.8 inch group. I know this isn't the best barrel in the world, but I thought, I was like, what? This is match ammo. It should be shooting better than this. I don't understand what's going on here. And so I was just really disappointed in this. So then we shot this group over here, this another 75 grain TMJ, and it tightened up a little bit. So we're probably like, what, 30 or 40, 50 rounds into this. And so it started tightening up. That's a less than a 1-inch group. So I was pretty satisfied with that. I was like, that's not too bad. It's way better than the match ammo was doing. But I was disappointed because it was a 75 grain bullet. I was not really wanting to shoot the 75 grain projectile with all of my ammo, but it is what it is. I thought that was just going to be my little plinking round, something to warm up the barrel kind of thing. So yeah, so I was a little disappointed that the 75 grains were shooting better than these 88 grain guys. So then I moved on to the Federal Fusion again. Look at this guy. So back to the Federal Fusion, and it shot a 1.8 inch group. So see if we can get all those in there. There's 2 in the same hole. I mean, it looked like it wanted to group, but it still was not as good as I was expecting. But, you know, for where I live, if you were going to hunt deer, I mean, that's not horrible. I would not expect to shoot any further than a couple 100 yards with this ammo, just, you know, just because it's not that great of a group. I've never heard great things out of this Federal Fusion factory ammo. So I'm not sure, you know, who would actually want to hunt with this ammo, but yeah. So that's my experience with the Federal Fusion. So that was all 2018. So fast forward to 2022. I've got my JP barrel. I've got my black hole weaponry barrel. It had been sitting around for years. I didn't do anything with it. I entered that Guardian match and started freaking out. Because I knew that I had this stuff. It wasn't even put together. I didn't have it on uppers. I just had a lower built with a Geissele trigger on it, which was a good trigger. It's a good 2-stage trigger. But yeah, so I started freaking out just a little bit that I didn't have anything. So I broke out these barrels, put them on some uppers. I actually had all the stuff that I needed for them. It was just they weren't put together. I had just been buying some stuff over the years as it went on sale, saw it was a good price and just got it. You know, and I realized that this was going to be the cartridge I was going to have to shoot if I was going to do this match. The other gun that I have, it's a 7mm 08. I really didn't feel like shooting a big cartridge like that for 2 days in a row and just kicking my butt. I've taken that thing out to the range a few times, and you know, after about an hour shooting that thing, I am pretty worn out, I got to admit. I don't shoot a ton, so I'm not used to all the recoil from that 7mm 08, and this 224 just shoots so nice. It's so smooth. I built these guys up with a +2 Rifle Link +2 gas tube on it, so they're super nice and they shoot really well. So took these guys out to the range and started shooting them up. Started again with the 75 grain total metal jacket, the Federal, because that's the factory ammo that I had. And this, you can see this group here. This is what I did with my barrel break-in. This is the JP 22-inch. I didn't have a chronograph on this guy. At the time, I just kind of wanted to see what would happen. So I would shoot 5, clean, shoot 5, clean, shoot 5, clean, shoot 10, and then I cleaned. So started with this group, and it was a good, you know, decent little group for starting out. I was kind of just aiming the way that the guy on the range set it up, just kind of aiming for the middle of these 2 bars that are coming across. But that's a solid, probably 4 or 5 inch group. So not great, but you know, it was a brand new barrel. It was a cold barrel, hadn't been broken in at all, you know, and so yeah, so that's where we started. Part of this was also dialing the scope in. I have one off to the way far left lower. I don't know if you can see this little guy right here, but that was my very first shot, and I was aiming for right around this area. So that's where it did. So I kind of, you know, dialed in the scope a little just to get it close. But yeah, so that's where that thing started out. So then, of course, I started with the 90 grain Federal Premium Gold, the Sierra Match King bullet. That's the bullet I really wanted to shoot. I felt like it would be a good long range bullet, you know, and all the research and studying that I've, you know, looked at said you want a bigger grain bullet for, so you can see your impacts better, so the range officers can see your impacts. You can see, like where you miss. So the larger grain bullet would be better for better downrange viewing, I guess. And so I started with that one, and it actually shot a really decent group for the, you know, the first couple of rounds out of it. Came out 5-shot round with a 1.14 inch group. So I was pretty happy with that, especially since that initial 88 grain match that I had shot horrible out of that Palmetto State Armory barrel. So I was really hoping this 90 grain Federal Premium would shoot well, and it was pretty decent. I felt like it would probably shoot better as the barrel kind of broke itself in. But yeah, so we started with that and got a pretty decent group. So I was pretty happy with that. So then I moved on to, of course, the 88 grain factory ammo, the ELDM, and was pretty happy about this one. The very first shots that I took with that Palmetto State Armory, you know, it was shooting huge groups, so I didn't have a lot of confidence in it, but was pretty happy with the way this one shot. 1.18 inches. It's actually 104 yards this range was at. I shot it and was pretty happy with that. Still, we're still breaking the barrel in, doesn't even have 100 rounds on it. So um, I have a lot of this ammo, so I was really happy that it shot well. I was hoping I'd maybe be able to shoot factory ammo at this competition. Just it would make it easier on me, and I wouldn't have to stress about developing a load to shoot here. But yeah, so 1 inch. I'm not gonna complain too much about that. And then I wanted to see what a group would be with this 75 grain total metal jacket. So you can see it shot like a 3.5 inch group, 3.2 inches, just to see what it would do. I know the velocity on it's pretty good. And if worse comes to worse, I could have shot that at this ammo because I've got a ton of this because Midway USA kept putting it on sale for some stupid cheap prices. So I grabbed like 5 boxes, every time they put it on sale, or the next week, I'd get paid and be like, let me get another 5 boxes of that. It was crazy cheap. So I've got a lot of this sitting here, which will be great for plinking or having fun or whatever, especially with that Palmetto State Armory. But I was hoping it maybe would shoot better, but what are you going to do? It's factory ammo, it's plinking ammo. So from there, we went to the Hornady Black factory ammo. It's also a 75 grain projectile, and it did pretty well. 1.67 inches, you can see there. I was pretty happy with that. I have a few boxes of this. As time went on, I kept buying more ammo. Most of it was that Hornady, so either the match or the black, or of course the 75 grain total metal jacket from Federal, just because it was cheap. And like I said, it would go on sale. I would snatch it up. So next up, I shot the 78 grain, the Federal Premium. It's got that Barnes TSX projectile in it. It's also factory ammo. And I was happy with the left to right stringing, more. There wasn't a lot of up and down gap until that very last shot, because I did notice that was the very last shot. This little guy up here jumped up a good just over an inch. So that made it a 1.23 inch group there. But I was pretty happy with that. It shot really well out of this JP barrel. No complaints with that one. But still, it's only a 78 grain. I've got a lot of those 77 grain Sierras, but I wanted something bigger. I really wanted that bigger bullet to shoot well out of it. So I was going to keep moving on. And then I shot this guy. So this is the 90 grain Federal Fusion Factory, and I was shocked, to say the least. For it to shoot a 1 inch group like that, I was really surprised because I had had such bad luck out of that Palmetto State Armory barrel with it. So it shot really well for what it is. It's a hunting ammo. It's meant to expand. I believe it's some sort of bonded jacket, but yeah, so this was the first day with the JP barrel, with all the factory ammo, and I was decently happy with it. Was hoping for some tighter groups. JP, you feel like should be a pretty accurate barrel, but just starting out. Plus, I hadn't shot since 2018. Hadn't shot anything, rifle, handgun, nothing. I have a pellet gun that I shot in the backyard a couple of times, but that is it. So a lot of this probably could have been me, maybe just getting back into the groove of things, being able to make tighter groups. I won't blame it all on the barrel and the factory ammo because I'm an amateur. I am not a professional at any of this stuff. So different range day. This is my 24-inch black hole weaponry barrel. So the same 75 grain total metal jackets from Federal. These are the first 20 shots with that barrel, just cleaning, doing the 5 shots, clean, 5 shots, clean, 5 shots, clean. Then, this one I did 5 more shots and cleaned. I was shocked at how small this group was with all the cleaning and everything. Brand new barrel, because it was way bigger with that JP barrel. I was pretty impressed with this. We have, a couple of little, I won't even call them flyers, it's just what it is. A couple of shots here and here. But this little group right here, I was really surprised at this. Less than a 2-inch group. You've got this guy here and this guy here. I believe that was my biggest group there. But I was really surprised at how well this group was. Brand new barrel, cleaning it every 5 shots, fouling it again, shooting 5, cleaning it, fouling it, shooting, all those things, and I was impressed. So I'm pretty happy with that. It shot really well, so kind of made me happy with those rounds. So then I went to the 75 grain Hornady black ammo. It's also factory ammo. Not as impressed with that. It looked like it spread out more. I know it's only a 5-shot group. One of them was off the target. But yeah, I wasn't as impressed with this one as I was the Federal Total Metal Jackets. You can see, one shot here, and I believe there was another shot right out here. But yeah, so not really as impressed with that as I'd hope to be. So then we went on to the 88 grain Hornady ELDMs, the factory ammo. Again, hoping for some good groups here. Don't be confused by this. I kind of screwed up. I thought this was this, but it wasn't. So this is the 88 grain here, Hornady factory. This little group here, it's a 1.65 inch group. So it actually didn't shoot bad. I was okay with that, especially being a fairly, really new barrel, less than 100 rounds on it. Again, I was really hoping for some tighter groups, but again, maybe this is still me doing that. And then we'll move on to this one real quick. So this one here, this is that 78 grain Federal Gold with that Barnes TSX factory ammo. And it shot pretty good. Just a little over an inch. You had that one out here and this one down here. But these three, you could tell they really wanted to group. So I was pretty happy with that. And then I moved on to the 90 grain Federal Gold. This is the one I really wanted to work well. I really wanted it to shoot well in this gun. And I was really impressed. This was actually the first shot. And then one of these up here, I can't remember which one was the second shot. So of course I was, after seeing 2 shots, was like, okay, here we go. So a little disappointed, but then they all piled in with all these guys right here. So I was pretty happy with that. So this little group wound up being a 0.71 inches, the whole thing being 1.5 inches. So I don't know if just what I was doing, it's probably me, I'm sure, if all these are going to be grouping together. I'm still not used to shooting like, every day like I used to back in the day, but it's, that was probably me, I'm sure. Not used to being on the trigger, not being on the gun. So I was really happy with this, and it's funny, it felt like this black hole weaponry barrel was shooting better than the JP barrel. So I was starting to get a little surprised at how well it was shooting compared to the JP. So we move on to the 90 grain Federal Fusion. Again, crappy group. I don't know what's up with this. It's got flyers all over the place. And I'm pretty sure this was not me, this little shot down here. But, these guys grouped pretty decent. All of a sudden, wham, one down here. And it's funny because I would watch videos on 224 Valkyrie. I did a lot of research. And it seems like everybody was having the nice, decent, not that this is decent, but nice, decent group and one weird flyer. Decent group, flyer, decent group, flyer, decent group, flyer. So obviously, I feel like it's this ammo here. It's really never been great. It did do that, 1 inch-ish group with my first little group there. I believe it was like 1.29 or something like that. But still, it still never really shot that great. And then moving on again to the 88 grain Hornady. So this one shot less than 1 inch. And I was really happy about that. I don't know why there's only 4 in there. I can't remember why I only shot 4. Maybe I only had 4 left. Because this was the second target and I was just finishing up. And so I just, maybe just put 4 downrange. But it shot good. So I was getting really happy with that barrel. I was pretty happy with that. So we shot all these up, and the last group was this 75 grain just to end it all out. This guy right here. So this is also that 75 grain Federal again, just to shoot him. And I believed I had cleaned again and then just put a few rounds through it. So the next time I came out, I wouldn't have to worry about it or think about doing it, because again, I'm not used to going to the range. I'm not used to shooting like I had been. So I was pretty happy with that. So we're going to move on. I believe this is my last group of targets. And then these are out of the JP barrel again. I really felt like the JP barrel was going to be my competition barrel at the time. Just with the way that, everybody says the JP barrel are the best barrels, are really good barrels. Maybe not the best barrels, but really good barrels, for shooting, that they're accurate. They're great for the AR platform. And I really thought, I was like, this is going to be my gun. This is the one I'm going to load off of. So I wanted to get some factory ammo, run through that again, which will be this next little group of targets. All right, so 78 grain Barnes. This is that TSX bullet. Shot really well. But again, I kept seeing these small groups, little flyer, small group, little flyer. But it shot good. It was still under an inch for the whole entire thing, so I can't complain about that. This small little group here was a .43. I'm not going to complain about that. But still seeing that interesting, like what everybody is saying, you have a decent little group, but one of them is a flyer. So I started kind of paying attention when I was shooting to see if that was the case. Is every round going to happen like that? Is it the first round or the last round? But yeah, so I started seeing the things that everybody talked about. So we moved on to the Hornady Black on the JP. So it shot a pretty decent group, 1.3 inches there. Pretty happy about that for the 75 grainer. And then once again, we went to the 90 grain Fusion. I don't even know why I shoot this ammo anymore. Like I don't know what is wrong with this 4-inch group. That's a 4-shot group, it looks like. There's probably one off the target somewhere. It could be this guy. There's a guy way up here. It could be, let's see where we're at here. All right, look at the camera here. It could be this guy. Like it could be way up here, and that's an 8-inch group right there. So I decide like this ammo sucks. I'm sorry, Federal. This Fusion and both of my rifles are horrible. So it's going to turn into my little plinking load because you can't predict where this round is going to go. So I got these guys shot. You can see in the middle there, just some siders, really just trying to get myself on target there. So a couple here, then bring it back to center, then brought it back up just to get myself on target. And finally, the last target with the factory ammo. I went ahead and tried to finish it off with some the ammo that I really wanted to shoot if I was going to shoot factory ammo for competition. So this 88 Great ELDM, the factory ammo. Again, you can see the 4 decent .69 group here with the one guy up here. I don't understand that. It's just interesting. You see it on some of the videos. Everybody talks about it, but I notice it. So we'll just do a quick move on here. So moved on to this other 88 grain group here. This is also the factory ammo. Then this one shot 2.5 inches. So I haven't been super happy with the factory ammo. It's like they do shoot good. They don't some days. I know some of it's probably me, but that's an 1.5 inch group. That ELDM was a 2-inch group. Like, I can shoot a little bit better than that. Not being a consistent shooter, I know I can shoot better than that. So back to the 90 grain. I was like, well, let me finish it off with the 90 grain. I remember those shoot well. So went back to that Sierra Match King, and just nothing great. So I was a little disappointed. So I was pretty happy to, that I was going to do some reloading with this. I didn't want to, but I remember, I really enjoyed reloading. So we were going to basically scratch the factory ammo and work up some loads, which all that leads us to where we are now. Reloading, that's what we're going to have to do, which that's what this channel should be about, not just shooting factory ammo. You guys want to see some examples of, what people shoot. I love watching people shoot groups. I love Johnny's reloading bench because it's so, I want to say exciting, but it is. It's exciting to watch him shoot, to see where the groups lay. Like, oh, there's 3 shots in 0.3, and the 4th one's like an inch away, and watching him, don't mess it up. It's a lot of fun to watch people shoot and see if they actually can come up with loads and make good groups, and I like seeing his enjoyment out of making good groups with stuff that he has put together, his primer, his powders, his projectiles, with his brass, doing what he wants to do. And that's what I want this channel to be, is something for you guys to watch and see, like, look at the successes, look at the failures, see what you could have done better, and to get input from you guys on what I should be doing to improve my groups. That's why I want to name the channel Group Therapy. Like it's like therapy watching somebody shoot groups, and the highs and lows and the disappointments. So yeah, so that's where we're at now. So we're going to start loading some ammo. We'll wrap this up pretty quick, but I bought a crap ton Starline brass. So it was on sale. I had bought it, months, if not years ago, and because I knew I was going to reload eventually with this Valkyrie load. So I bought a crap ton of Starline brass. So I'm going to start using all brand new Starline brass. I did check a bag. They do both fit in they fit in both of my rifles. So I'm not going to resize them, but what I am going to do is do the whole chamfer and deburr, just the case mounts. And I'm also actually going to put an expander die through it. I bought one of the, doing all of my research, I bought one of the Lee Wilson or Wilson tool gauges, hand loading. It's the expanding mandrel die. So get that guy in there. So the expanding mandrel die, I did buy that because I do understand now, obviously, not back in the old days where I would shoot different brass companies and try to make a group. I do understand now that you need to be consistent. So I want my neck tension to be at least consistent. When I do actually full link size, I understand full link sizing is really the way to go. I've watched a lot of videos from Eric Cortina, and I understand, where he's coming from. Like, you want it to be consistent every time, like cleaning the barrel. You want it to be consistent every time. So I understand consistency is key if you want to be precise. So I'm going to neck size every new case before I load it. Once I do shoot, I do have the Hornady custom grade dies, the 224. It's a 2-die set. I'll be taking that expander out, just because I know that I'm going to use that the Wilson, the L.E. Wilson one. I'm going to start with 223. I have a ton of 223. I have a bunch of 1 pound things of 223. I found them just, over the years at a pawn shop, grabbed a couple of pounds here, a couple of pounds there. And I did find, with all this powder scare, I did find an 8-pound jug somewhere and wound up buying that. So I'm going to start with 223. I know it's a fast shooting powder, so I know I'll get some good velocities out of it. I feel like I would get some decent standard deviations. From what I noticed before, when I did have some, actual numbers coming out of my chronograph, that when I used the extruded powder, that I would have greater standard deviations. So I don't know if it's the weight, of being precise with that. It could have been, the fact that I was using different brass, companies. Who knows? But I feel like, this like ball powder or flake powder or whatever it is, that that having such a small grain and being consistent with that, I feel like that would give me some good standard deviation. So of course I could be just pulling it out of my butt, have no idea what I'm talking about. But so that's what I want to do. I want to start with CFE 223 just because I have a ton of it. And of course, I have the 90 grain Sierra Match King. This is the bullet I really want to shoot. So we'll start with this guy. I also have this guy over here. I've got a ton of this stuff. The 88 grain ELDMs. I got a ton of those. I really want to shoot those. I'm hoping they shoot well. I listened to the Sniper's Hide podcast, and Frank on that podcast loves those 88 grains. So I'm hoping that'll shoot pretty decently. I also have what I would think would maybe be my plinking round. I have a lot of these 88 grain or 80 grains from Sierra. I also have a box of 500 of these on top of these tiny little boxes that I have. So I bought a box of 500. They were on sale. And then I still have a ton of these left, these 77 grains for my 223 loading that I used to do. So I have a ton of these as well. And then I don't know how well they're going to shoot. I heard they're very finicky, but I also was able to grab the burgers, the VLD targets, and the 90 grains. These guys are expensive. So if they shoot well, I'm going to be really mad because I'm going to have to buy these. But I know that Burger makes great projectiles. I know that they're very consistent, that they look beautiful, because they do. They look great. But yeah, so hopefully they shoot like crap, because I really don't want to spend that much money on these. And then these guys actually, these weren't that expensive. I think I got these off Midway as well, the 85.5 grains. I remember watching, I think it's Gavin shoot the 80s, and I couldn't really find the 80s, but I found these. So I wound up getting about 500 rounds of these. And so hopefully these will shoot pretty decently out of one of my barrels, but we'll start with that. And then for a while, so primer choice, we're going to shoot these AR Match Federal, the small rifle match primers. I bought these, maybe not these particular ones, but I bought 2,000 rounds way back in like 2015. And then while I was thinking about reloading and seeing, all the scare and the powder and the primers and all that stuff, I saw a box for sale on some site. I can't remember now, but I picked up a couple more boxes of these at way too much of a price. I think I paid $39.99 for these way back then. And so, but since I have a bunch of these, I'm going to use these just to be consistent. I want to stick with that consistency. I also have the CCI 41 primers, but I only have 1,000 rounds of those. So I really want to go through these first. I've seen a lot of good things with these on Johnny's channel as well, that they're pretty consistent, they're pretty nice. I had been looking for the 7.5 Remington. I really want to try those, but I can't find those anywhere. And I had actually been looking for those for a while, and either whenever I found them, they were already out, or they just seemed like too expensive since I already had these. But anyway, so that's what I'm going to shoot. Going to use the Starline brass, going to reload those guys, and see how all that goes. I'm hoping I can get some fairly small groups. I hope you guys enjoy watching. I know this video went way too long. I'm probably sitting at an hour now, but that's the start. This is the first video. Hopefully the next ones won't be as long. What I'll do is I'll load some ammo up. I'll shoot some groups. I want to get a target camera out there, but again, I'm at a public range, so I don't know how well that's going to work. So for a while, until I can figure something out, it may just be using the targets after the fact. But yeah, I want to bring you guys along so you can look at what I do. When I do start reloading, just an FYI, again, I am no professional. You take your own risk at whatever it is that you want to load with your gun, with your projectiles, with your powder. That's all up to you. If I'm going to shoot ammo, I'm going to shoot it because I load it, not because anybody else did. I wouldn't shoot anybody else's reloads. You need to do your own reloads with your own research, with your own gun, and you need to go from there. But that's about it. Hopefully we'll get some decent groups out of these guns. I'm pretty excited about it. Still a little nervous. I've never shot a rifle match before, so this Guardian thing will be pretty interesting. I'm just gonna go have fun. I like shooting. And it'll be interesting. I like the way that they run the match with the second day. You're kind of paired with somebody that's exactly opposite of you. So if I'm in last place after the first day, I'll get paired up with the first place guy, that's kind of cool, So, so we'll see how it goes. And guys, stick around and check out the channel. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. All right, bye.